So we will be recording this immediately. So we will have later, or for those who are not in, later, we will go through the
Could everyone go on mute so we can actually hear what they're trying to say, please?
Yeah, thank you. If you're not on mute, please go ahead and mute yourself for now so that we don't get any feedback. I will start with the PowerPoint.
And Chris, I don't know what happened, but we could hear you pretty good, but now you sound a little far away.
Ooh, let me check something. I don't think I changed any of my volumes. How about now? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I think that's better.
Okay. Yeah, I will speak up and lean forward as we work through this. Okay, so we're here for the Q&A judges training. Today is January 11th. There's two names and emails up on the top here. I will send this presentation out after the call, so everyone will get a copy of this. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to Patty or myself about Future City in general or about the Q&A and the judges training. Just a background, some of you I know are very familiar with Future City, others maybe not. Maybe this is your first time judging a deliverable for Future City. Just to give you a little background, this is a very large competition nationally. There's about 42 regions in the country, and each of those regions is doing just what we're doing now in the month of January. They're hosting the Future City competition to determine who their regional champion is going to be, and then in February all of the regional champions will go to Washington D.C. or virtual depending on how they do it this year, and compete in a national competition. Future City is a program designed to try to get 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students more involved in STEM or in math and science and engineering, and in particular the engineering community giving back as volunteers to put on this competition and get these students involved, to kind of get them thinking about what it takes to build a city, what does it take to design a city, and all of the things that go into it. As part of the competition, it's fairly rigorous. It usually starts at the beginning of the semester and it lasts the whole semester for most schools. And they start by writing an essay, then they build a scale model, develop a project plan, and then complete or prepare a presentation video about their city. All of those
Hey, Chris,
deliverables.
sorry,
Yeah.
just one second. Somebody was asking about the size of the screen, but I can just tell everybody if you hold shift and your plus arrow or roll your screen, it will increase the size for you for your own viewing.
Is that something I need to do or individuals?
I'm not sure if it works on your screen or not.
I'm not. I'm just seeing my screen. So. Was that a chat question?
I think, yeah, that was a chat question. I think that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. So just kind of giving a little background, what we're here to do today is talk about the virtual Q&A session with the judges being you guys, uh, and how that's going to work. All of the scoring rubrics have been provided by National. We'll go through that here in a little bit. Before then, I'll give you kind of a breakdown of the overall competition. The first 4 deliverables are due before competition date. Competition date is, of course, Saturday. That is the preliminary round at the competition. That will be on the 15th of January, Saturday. It says live, but we're going to be doing these virtual by Zoom meetings. And the Q&A portion of the overall competition is worth 49 points. So after viewing and after participating in the Q&A as judges, you will be asked to score the teams on 7 questions. Each question is worth up to 7 points. So that's how you get the 49. And we'll go through those questions that you'll be scoring them on here in a little bit. Every year there's a theme. This year's theme for the Future City competition is designing a waste-free city. And so this is what the teams have been focused on in the development of their essay, their model, their city presentation. And I expect that when you ask them questions about their city, you will hear a lot of answers around this topic, around how they design for a waste-free city. How is it that what is it that's innovative or different or new that they're doing? What are they planning, and how are they handling all of the trash and pollution that builds up in their city? The second part of this challenge in their overall Future City competition is to design a waste-free city using the principles of circular economy. I encourage you to look that up, to Google it. I did. It was very interesting. Circular economy is basically a way to make and design and use things so that you're constantly designing the waste and pollution out of the cycle. You're trying to keep products in use as long as possible, to recycle what you can't, to recover them, to reuse them. And ultimately, the goal is to reduce all of the waste from the whole cycle of production. You will probably hear a lot about that, and there are some questions about circular economy that are we'll share these later for the teams to ask, or for the judges to ask. Right now, we've got 26 teams that are going to be judged. I think there's a few that are kind of on the fence, so we may not quite get to 26, but we're planning for 26 teams to be judged virtually on the 25th. We're going to do that by Zoom meetings. That will all be set up by us, so that you judges will not need to set them up. You will just be getting the invites from them. They have not gone out yet, I don't believe, but they will here in the next couple of days. And the way we're running this is with 26 teams to be judged. We're running 9 sessions concurrently. So we're going to have 9 moderators, and each of those sessions will have 3 judges in it. And each of those judges will have 3 time slots that they will be judging: a 9 to 9:45, 9:45 to 10, and a 10:30 and a 10:30 to 11:15. Now, these are for the preliminary judges. I know Juanita's on, and there may be another finalist judge, but the finalist judging happens the 22nd. This is all preliminary, and this applies to almost all of you. The preliminary judging will be on the 15th. 9 sessions, 3 time slots, and 3 judges per presentation. There is a 4th time slot set aside for judges only. So in each of those time slots, those say 9 to 9:30, session number 1, you'll have a moderator, you'll have judges, then you're going to have the students, probably teacher, probably some family members. There's going to be, anywhere from just a small number of folks to could be upwards of 50 or 60 people from that team that are in that time slot from that school to watch the presentation for their students and children. There's a 4th time slot set aside from 11:15 to 12 o'clock, and that is for the judges only. So only the moderator and the 3 judges from that session will be in that meeting, and that is an opportunity for the judges to complete any scoring that they need and to fill out their scores and submit them before noon, so that we can collect all of the scores from the Q&A session and get them tallied up with all of the previous scores, so that we can determine who are the top finalists from our region on Saturday afternoon. At this point, I'd like to take a minute and just share with you the judging matrix that we're using. We're still working on this, so this is not final. This is sort of a behind the scenes look of what we're doing as Future City to try to accommodate the Q&A virtual presentations. So you see on the left side here, we have sessions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Each has a host. That doesn't, you don't need to be concerned with that. That's just who's controlling the meeting and starting it. Each session has a moderator, and the moderator is who is going to be running the show, kind of the MC of that time slot from 9 to 9:45 for the first presentation. So come down here, session 5, I will be the moderator for session 5, and there will be 3 judges in each session. We haven't quite filled all of the slots out yet, but we will get there. And so these are the 3 judges that will be in session 5. And then in session 5, as with all the sessions, there will be a 9 o'clock to 9:45 meeting, and these are going to be separate meetings. So your 9 to 9:45 is going to be a Zoom meeting, and at 9:45, and these will show up on your calendar, when the Zoom meeting is over at 9:40 or 9:45, you will need to close that one out and then join the next one. And we're doing that because each of these teams has a lot of students and teachers and folks, and we don't want them hanging on the call and then staying on and watching the other team's presentations. So we've set this up so that each presentation, 9 to 9:45, 9:45 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11:15, they are all separate Zoom meetings. So as the first set of judges here, you will get an invite to all 3, actually all 4 of these Zoom meetings. The first 3 are the judgings, or the Q&As, and then the last one is just a place for you to go with your moderator and complete your scoring. And if you got any questions, you can ask, and then submit your scores, by the end of that session, hopefully. So that's kind of behind the scenes how things are going to be set up. But from your end, you will just see the Zoom invites. And by the way, I will add, please do not share these Zoom links with anyone once you get them, because we don't need any Zoom bombs or any folks that are not invited joining the Q&As. Let's see, go back to the, where was I? Get back here. Start this back up. It's already running, that's fine. Okay. So that's kind of how the sessions, the time slots, and the 3 judges per presentation will work. What I'll get into now is, this is some information. I think I may have provided it earlier with the invite. This is just basic information out of the handbook. To give you an idea, the Q&A is the 5th deliverable. It is one that will be done on Saturday the 15th by virtual Zoom meetings. And once the moderator, so for my session 5, I'll be the moderator. I'll have some opening remarks at that 9 o'clock slot. And then after my opening remarks and introductions, the team, the 3 students on the team, will then have 10 minutes to answer questions from the panel of judges. So we'll have 3 team members, 3 students, and 3 judges. And these 3 students will represent, they should be working to share time equally in answering the questions and sharing the displays and share the knowledge and understanding of the topics surrounding their city. And these 3 representatives may be the same or different from those who were in the city presentation videos. So I know some of you have scored or viewed the city presentations deliverables, which have already come in. And so if you have, you may or may not see the same students in the Q&A. It's okay if they have different students. Some might be the same, some might be different. And I think, Patty, is it fair to say that these judges will be provided the link to the teams so that they can go ahead of time before Saturday and look at, if you want to look back at the essay, the model, and the presentation from the cities that you're going to be judging, you're welcome to do so to help prep yourself.
Yes, and I believe I might have sent that email this morning already to a lot of these judges. It should be called like a team packet, and in that packet, it's a Google Drive folder, and you'll see all the teams, and there might be more teams than what you're gonna judge. But if you go there, you could pick the teams that you're judging, and in that packet should be uh, a copy of their essay, a link to their moving part, a link to their presentation, and then also like a PDF of their city model, which is kind of taking place of looking at their physical model. And there might be some other miscellaneous stuff in that folder, but I mean, everything you need should be in there.
Yeah. So if you want
And just, there are a couple teams that are still missing their presentation. I think there's 6 teams, but they should be there sometime this week. So we will follow up with that as soon as we get those in. We'll be sure to add them to these same folders.
And where are we notified on what teams we are judging? And that's not been issued yet, correct?
Yeah, we will send you this a copy of this form so you can see which teams you'll be judging.
Here we've got the 3 judges, Anna, Augustin, and Josh, and they will be judging City 842 Cosmic City from 9 to 9:45, and then A2C2 ES Metropolis from 9:45 to 10:30, and then New Atlantis from 10:30 to 11:15. So if you go back to that Google Drive, you want to see New Atlantis. So if you're one of those first 3 judges in session 1, your third Q&A will be with New Atlantis. So you open that and you can see here's their essay, their moving part, their presentation, and this is their model presentation slideshow. So if you want to do some prep work for each of those 3 schools, you're welcome to come and look at these. It's not required, but it might help round out, where they're coming from with some of their model or some of their answers from their Q&A questions they're getting.
And we do have time in there that we scheduled these meetings to be like 30 minutes long, technically 45 minutes, but some time for you to judge at the end and go to the next one. So ultimately, I think we're planning on playing their presentations, which should be about 7 minutes, and maybe showing, flipping through their slideshows. So at each session, the host will go through those. So if you don't have time to view them between now and then, we will be playing them during your Q&A session.
Yes, that is correct. So during the actual Q&A, so at 9 o'clock, it'll start with opening remarks. We will then play the video. It's a 7-minute video of the presentation for that school. And we will then flip through. It'll take about 2 or 3 minutes. We'll flip through the model. There won't be any narrative or speaking, but it'll just be an opportunity for judges and everyone to see the model presentation. Following that 10 minutes, so 7 plus 3, is when the Q&A will start. Thank you, Patty. So the competition scoring, there's 7 questions, 5 under knowledge and understanding and 2 under the delivery of their Q&A responses, for a total of 49 points. This was provided to all the teams. So these are practice questions. There's kind of 5 categories that they're going to be practicing on: engineering and technology, teamwork and project management, city systems and operations, city design, and circular economy. So they're going to be brushing up on questions just like this. In fact, these are the practice questions they were given. It doesn't mean these are off limits. If you feel any of these questions apply as you're going through your 10-minute Q&A, you're welcome to ask them. But if it's a good team, they will be prepared for these questions.
Chris, is there also some mandatory questions?
Yes, I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
The very next slide is so National has given each region a list of mandatory questions to be asked of all teams. And so what we suggest is, so there's 5 categories. It's those same 5 we just saw that they're practicing. It's under engineering technology, teamwork, collaboration, city system, city design, and circular economy. It is only required that one question in each of those 5 categories be asked. So what we would suggest is that judge number 1 ask one of these 2 questions right off the bat. That'll be your first question. Judge 2 takes one from this group. Judge 3, back to Judge 1, Judge 2, and then after that, you just continue on with questions that you come up with. You know, there's no required questions beyond asking one of each of these 5. So back to the team real quick. So, you know, we've got the judges numbered. So when this goes out, when you get to starting the questions, it's a little bit rote, but it will get the ball rolling, and the judges will ask the first 5 questions from that list of mandatory ones. You do have some selection because, you know, they provided 2 or 3. So you don't have to ask both of them, just ask one from each. Get through the first 5 questions, and then you can go on from there. What I would like to do is just show, I'm not going to show the whole clip, but this is, I found this, I thought this was interesting from last year. This is a Q&A from Philadelphia, Future City competition. And I'm going to have to play. Oh, I jumped ahead a little too much. Now I gotta come here. There we go. I lost my spot. I hope we'll catch up here in a second.
You guys spoke a lot about
virtual reality.
I'm sorry, time is up.
That was the end of the previous one.
so now we'll head into the Q&A. So the first question is, what is an example of the innovative technology that your team used in the Lunar City design? Maybe what was your favorite innovation you guys developed?
So one of the main technologies used within our city, or in this case above our city, is the LunaLink power, networking, and positioning satellites, which are in geosynchronous orbit over the city. They are able to produce an uninterruptible supply of electricity by collecting solar energy from the sun. This solar energy is then sent to microwave generators positioned on the satellites. These microwave generators convert the solar energy into microwaves and beam down to rectennas on the surface. The rectennas catch the microwaves and convert them back into electricity. This electricity is then run through our city. It's our city's main power source. The LunaLink satellites also provide communications for Orbis Noctum.
And using the early exploration data of the LunaLink satellites, our SABRE systems, which stands for Surveying Autonomous Boring Extraction Rover, they continuously analyze and geotag all highly valued layers for future extraction. And any regolith and rock that they collect is conveyed into our laser systems for further processing.
Laser systems, which stand for Lunar Asset Solar Element Refineries, use heliostats to focus the sun's rays onto furnace tubes. In the first furnace tube at 100 degrees Celsius, water is vaporized, then condensed, and used for water treatment for drinking, or to electrolyze where oxygen and hydrogen are produced. In the second furnace tube at 600 degrees Celsius, helium-3 evolves and is collected and compressed.
In the third furnace tube contains a 950 degrees bath of molten calcium chloride salt. This is where an electric current is introduced.
So you can see they're really answering the question very thoroughly. That was just one question. But they did a good job. They shared between them. They used displays. They had a little hand model. You know, this was a good Q&A session from this team. These are one of the finalists from Philadelphia last year.
And the oxide bonds
For LJ scrubbers.
And Chris, I'll just add that
Tube at 600
it
degrees
could be that the team is like this all together in one camera, or it may be that each student is calling in separately. So it could be one of 2 options. And with inclement weather, I think there might be some concern, you know, so they might be individual, just a heads up.
Yep. So then they'll cut to the next judge asking a question, and then the answer, and then the next judge asks the question, and so on. So that's how the Q&A will go. during that period of the Q&A session. Let's see.
So I think judges should be prepared to be on camera too. And we request that you don't use a background. Digital background, to use a real background. I guess just whatever's in your house kind of thing.
Yeah, it would be helpful to the teams because the students are going to be on camera. And so if the judges are as well, then that gives them that visual communication back and forth with the judges. All the others will have their videos turned off and will be muted, and we'll hopefully get that taken care of right at the beginning of the 9 o'clock session, or each session. This is here. You can read these once I send this out, but these are the questions that you as a judge, after you've gone through the Q&A and you've sort of absorbed what the teams told you and the answers and the questions that you all have asked, and this is how you'll score them. So it's a 7-point scale. Again, these questions are kind of line up with those 5 themes about engineering technology, teamwork, city design, city systems, engineering technology. Answer the questions with limited details. Answer the questions with adequate details, but could have been better. Decent understanding of the concepts. Answered the questions clearly with sufficient detail, good understanding of concepts. Answered questions clearly and thoroughly, elaborated with related details, excellent understanding of the concept. So it's kind of a sliding scale for each of these 7 questions, from 0 to 7. So afterwards, when we're in that last session, you'll have a chance to go back if you maybe made some pencil notes as you've gone through the Q&A. And then when you get in that last session, you'll have an opportunity to go back and solidify your scores for each of the teams, of each of the 3 teams that you've judged. Last 2 questions here are on delivery, use of model, and the use of collaboration. Did one person talk the whole time? You want them to share the answers. You want them to share the time equally, and have each of them really show that they're knowledgeable about their city and about answering the questions that you're asking. With that, I guess I'll share briefly the moderator script, which is kind of maybe a blow-by-blow of each of the Q&A meetings that we're going to go through.
Chris, do you recommend that judges print that rubric, one for each team, to have on hand?
It would be good to have, it would be good to have this. I think I sent it out earlier, but I'll make sure I include a copy with the when I send this presentation, the PDF out, I will also include a copy of the questions that they're going to be scoring on, these 7 questions. To the script. So now this is, this first part here, this is all for like the moderator. So in my session 5, this will be me. I'll be opening up the link 5 minutes early, so 5 minutes prior to 9 o'clock. I will be verifying team names, who the presenters are, who the judges are. I will be noting that we'll be recording the session, but it is not going to be posted, and it is only for the judges to review and for the specialty judges who can't attend. So we've got some specialty judging going on in the background. Doesn't involve anything that you guys are doing, but it's another reason that we're recording these, is so the specialty judges can come afterwards and review them. The introductions, we've got about 5 minutes, so 9 o'clock, ding. Introductions, 5 minutes, hopefully a little bit less, keep it brief. We're going to play that presentation, that 7-minute city presentation for that team. So if you don't watch it ahead of time, you'll get to see it right at the beginning. We'll then go into the model slideshow. There's no speaking with it. It's just a PowerPoint with 19 slides. We'll click through it. The city Q&A is when the 10 minutes starts. So I will make a few comments. I will ask the timer to start timing, and then I will kick it off to the first judge to ask the first question. Following the 10 minutes, an announcement will be made that time's up. The teams will stop answering the question that they're on. I've got a few comments to wrap up the session, and that will be essentially the end of that session. And at which time, because each of the 3 judgings, the 9 to 9:45, 9:45 to 10:30, etc., are separate meetings. After the wrap up, as a judge, you're free to end that meeting, sign off, and then if you got a few minutes, you got a little break, and then at 5 minutes till the next one, which would be at about 10:10, you can log in to the 10:15 Q&A session, and we will repeat this all over again. So it'll start, and this is a script. I'll just go roll through it, but I'm just going to say some opening remarks. Glad that you guys are here. I'm going to introduce the 3 judges. I'm going to introduce the 3 students. And this, again, I will start recording, then I will do that. I will explain to everyone what we're doing. We're going to play the presentation and then the slideshow, and then we're going to open the Q&A. Only the 3 presenting students may participate, so all the others will be asked to mute and turn their videos off. And if we get any feedback, we can hopefully mute somebody that is unable to mute themselves. But if for some reason students or people start jumping in and talking that aren't supposed to be, there will be penalties, unfortunately, incurred for that team, and we will do our best to try to keep that to a minimum and keep people muted during the Q&A. They may use their physical model and visual aids, but the teams will not be allowed to essentially share their screens to show something or play videos. So it's going to be a direct back and forth with the students in the Q&A. Play this, play that. Start the time. Judges ask their questions. 10 minutes is up. Splash screen. I thank everybody. And that will be the end of a few comments about the finals being on the 22nd at Stewart Theater and about announcing the top 5 teams after Saturday's preliminary round. We've got some giveaways and etc. So that would be the end of that meeting. And then that meeting will be ended, and then the next meeting at 9:45 will start, and then again at 10:30. And I think that was all I had, except for this final slide. Again, these teams have been working for a long time. They've been delivering a lot of deliverables up to this point. We are now to the final deliverable of the preliminary round, which is the Q&A Saturday. Oh, how you will actually get your scores to us. So we will have a Google form, a link to it, and you will be provided that. I think I saw an email just come in. We got a draft of it right now. I'll just show you real quick, but this hasn't been sent out yet, but it will be. And so what you'll do as a judge, once we've got this form finalized, is, when you're done with that scoring for that first team, you know what scores you want for those 7 questions. You'll be able to click this link. Hopefully it will work. There we go. You will put the team name here, the team number, if you've got it. And then you will enter for each one of these 7 questions, you will put your score, 5, 6, 4, whatever. And then when you answer all 7 questions, you have the opportunity to put some additional notes if you like. And then once they've done that, they don't need to submit it. They just put them in and they're good, right?
I think there is a submit button. Once they fill it out, there'll be a submit button.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
So
see
you'll
it.
have to do one for each team, like separately.
right? So there'll be a submit. You will hit submit for that first team, and then that will be saved, but you will have to go back to that link and do it again for the second team, and then a third time for the third team. And that is something that in the 11:15 to 12 o'clock time slot, that is for the judges only. If you need any help working through this Google form in order to submit your scores, each of those 9 session rooms will have a moderator in there to help you with filling that out if you need it.
And it is set up to where the total Q&A should only be about 30 minutes. So then you should have about 15 minutes before your next session starts, hopefully. But that's to allow for one to go a little bit long if there's a hiccup at the beginning, you know, teams can't get on or whatever, that we can push it a little bit. But you might have time in there to do some of your scoring, or we want it to give you a break to go get coffee or whatever you need to do. So hopefully you got 15 minutes between each session or so, at 45 minutes. So hopefully there's a little bit of fluff in there.
Yeah, we've tried to build a little bit of time in there, and so hopefully there will be a little bit of time at the end for you to make notes, jot down scores for the presentation that you or the Q&A that you just completed before going on to the next one.
Chris, I will note that we do need a couple more judges. We've had a few back out that can't make it. So if anybody happens to know anybody that they think would be interested, especially in your time slot or something, please let us know. Send us a link to their name, or you can have them go register on the futurecity.org website. But
Yep, we are in need of a few judges to finish up our complement of 3 per session. Yeah. Again, don't share your Zoom links. To enter a Google form to enter your scores. We're still working on that, but we'll get that out to you before Saturday, and we'll have it again on hand if anybody needs it on Saturday. It probably will be in that. I think we're also going to have it in the team packets. Is that right? It'll be in.
maybe I don't have them in there now, but we can look at adding them.
Yeah, so we'll get it to you. Thank you, Patty, for doing that. It should be pretty simple and straightforward Google form.
And each team has their own specific Zoom link, just because we figured it'd be easier for the judges to move around, and we didn't want to take a chance on other teams being in on the other team's call. So. And the Zoom meetings do allow for like 75 people. We've told the teams they can have up to 75 people. So parents and other teammates might be joining in, just so you're aware that there might be quite a few people on the call.
Keep the moderators on their toes.
But the host will take care of making sure everybody else is muted and kind of keeping up with that. So you don't need to do anything on that front, but just so you're aware and not shocked if you see a whole bunch of people on there.
That pretty much rounds out, other than the finals. So on the 15th, we'll do this Q&A, which is the last deliverable. We'll score them up. We'll tally up the scores. And then on the 16th, we will announce the top 5 finalists. And those top 5 finalists are then going to do the Q&A again live. Well, the plan is live. We don't know. It may go virtual. But right now, we're going to try to do it live at NC State at the Stewart Theater on January 22nd. And so we've got some finalist judges. I know at least one of them is on here, but we've got some finalist judges that will be doing the same thing you're doing this Saturday. They'll be doing it next Saturday, but with the top 5 finalists.
And those teams will actually be redoing their video presentation live.
So they'll be doing the presentation live and then the Q&A live.
Yes. And we are still looking for volunteers for the event day too. So if anybody's interested and wants to come and attend that event day on the 22nd, we'd love to have you. So just reach out to me and let me know. And I'm sure we got a task for you, and you can come and watch. Be
Just with that said, I'll open it up. We've got 15 minutes for questions. If anybody's got some, please fire away.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Peter. Question: if in the 10 minutes, if you don't get through all 5 questions, because let's say you got like the Philadelphia folks who just go on for 5 minutes on the first question, do y'all cut them off, or how does that work?
Yeah. So if they go long with the questions, and if they take 3 minutes a question, we only get through 3.5 questions. At 10 minutes, they get cut off. The moderator, myself, I'll step in and call time. At 10 minutes, I'll step in and call time. And that would be, unfortunately, it would potentially impact their score if they weren't able to get around to at least one question from each of those 5 categories that you're judging them on.
Yeah, so we would take that into consideration in the judging, and that they didn't really answer all the questions. Okay.
Yes.
The minimum number. Okay.
Yeah, because they talk a lot, they may actually answer some of the other components of it. Like they might talk about their city design, even though it's maybe under the engineering question. So there's some overlap in the questions, but yeah, hopefully we'll get through the five mandatories and then get it opened up to a lot of good questions that y'all judges can come up with for the teams.
And because it's virtual, I don't know if you could kind of interrupt them if they keep going on or something, like, I wouldn't say interrupt, but like squeeze your question in or something. I don't know if will be easy or not, being a virtual type event.
I've got a question. I'm a finalist judge, and I was wondering if the files of the 5 finalist teams will be kept up online so we can look at them beforehand.
Yes.
Great.
And we will send those 3 finalist judges the email to let you know what the top 5 teams are. So you could go look at those, because you should have access to all the teams. You'll just have to go and pick those 5 team folders.
Yeah, I saw that, and I do have access to them. Who are
Okay.
the other finalist judges?
We have Amy Asker, who's with Envision Charlotte, who is actually does kind of circular economy.
Great.
And then we have Chris Warner, who's been a Future City, active. I mean, he's been part of our program for a while. So with NCDOT, so he'll also be a judge. And then we actually have U.S. House Representative Dean Arp will be present. He's going to be our keynote speaker. I'm not sure if he's going to come in the morning to see some of the judging, or if he'll just come at lunch for the afternoon. I'm not 100% sure yet where he's going to fall in there, but. And then I think we have Jerome Lavelle from NC State, who's the dean of the engineering department.
Yes, he is. He's always there.
Yeah.
So
and we will be serving lunch. I guess anybody that comes, we for that day so that will start on the 22nd. The event will start at 10, and we'll go through all the Q&A and presentations, and then hopefully we'll be done right around noon. We'll do an hour lunch, and then we'll come back and we'll do the keynote, and then we'll be followed by specialty award announcements. We'll announce those, and then we'll announce the order of the winners. And then that top team will represent North Carolina in the national finals, which I'm not sure what date that is. I think it's February 12th or somewhere in that range. They'll go to represent our state.
Yep.
So we really hate that we can't have it in person, because I do think a lot is lost by not having all the teams there together to see what other teams are doing. So hopefully our goal is to have it in person next year. So, but this is, I think, a compromise and the best that we could do with the times that we're in. So we do appreciate you working with us as we kind of flounder around trying to figure out what we're doing. So hopefully next year we'll be better prepped and set up for these and keep y'all more informed along the process. I know we've been late delivering and getting y'all stuff, so we appreciate your patience.
Yeah, we, 2020, we hosted it like we have for the last 15 years. And then last year came along and we did not have an event last year. Some regions pushed forward with virtual. We did not. This is our first year doing it virtual like this. So Patty and some other volunteers have put in a lot of time to, get things to run smoothly throughout all of this process. And, but, we are doing this for the first time. So it's inevitable that there's going to be a few hiccups. So we just, we're working through it. We just ask you guys to be patient with some of the technology and hopefully everything works out. But if not, we'll do our best to improvise and get through it.
Just a couple like Zoom meeting links. I had prepared some to send to the kids, and just so y'all know, but just make sure you don't update your Zoom connection. Like if you go to log into Zoom and it says you need to update, just click cancel, because they said, you don't want to be in the middle of your thing and then it automatically starts updating or something. So just be wary of that. And then of course, like I said, not to do the virtual backgrounds, because I think it takes up a lot of bandwidth and stuff like that. So I think the recommendation is not to do that. And then if you can wear a headset or something like that, I think it helps with the speaker noise. So just some tips.
I suspect that a lot of these kids have done online school, so they may find this to be perfectly normal.
Yes, I agree with you. I think they will. And I think there's some inclement weather coming, but I think from what I've seen, it's more late Saturday night. So hopefully, I think they want to be like at the school and doing it as a team together and have their model there. So there is a possibility that they might have to answer the questions without having their physical model there. I think one of the actual team judges questioned us on that, will they get penalized for that? Because they do like the one kid held up the little part and was pointing to the little thing. So I think they like to have their model there when they answer the questions, but it's possible that if they're each doing it from their house, they might not have that capability. So I guess we shouldn't ding them for that if that's the case. Somebody asked. I think somebody asked the question, will the top 5 teams remain online so the finalist judge can review them? Oh, did we already answer that question, Juanita?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I should have.
Nope, sorry, I was late. I just saw it.
That's okay.
We are looking to post that on our website, those top 5 teams. And even if y'all can't attend the January 22nd event, we are trying to plan to record it and make a presentation kind of video out of it and then post it up on the website. So hopefully if y'all can attend, maybe, after that 22nd date, you can go view the presentations online and check them out.
Okay, well, any last questions before I wrap up? Okay, hearing none, I will go ahead and wrap up. I will send out this PowerPoint to all of those that were invited to this, and this was recorded. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording, but this was recorded, and we will get a link out